So let's quickly talk about grounding. Why do we ground? I believe we all ground all the time. A lot of first of all, just getting started right out of the gate. And sorry, stuff comes to my mind and I just go right into it. And so, um, whether people know it or not, we are constantly trying to ground ourselves. If you think about all of the coping mechanisms and all the things that we do to soothe ourselves, is basically us really trying to ground. And what grounding really means is just, bringing yourself, your awareness, your essence back into your body via the senses. And we usually try to do that in ways where we can, even if only temporarily, enjoy our body, enjoy the experience in our body, I should say. And as I'm talking, things are popping in my mind, so I got to write them down so that I can tell you, not so that I don't forget to mention them later. So, I believe that's where a lot of the addictions really stem from, these coping mechanisms. It's really us just trying to ground ourselves. I think it's something that we inherently need, we subconsciously need. We just don't know that's what it is. We're trying to. So when I talk about, our awareness being outside of our body, our intention, our thoughts, our power of intention, that's projecting pieces of ourselves outside of our body. And so especially if we are in roles, that require a ton of our attention, a ton of our patience, just require a lot of mental and emotional energy from us to maintain, we are going to feel very, very, very fractured, and we're going to be outside of our body throughout that time, right? And so, when I talk about roles like that, the one that I'm in right now as a stay-at-home mom of, 3 small children. I have a teenager, but he's pretty self-sufficient. He's 15, but I'm a stay-at-home mom of 4 kids total. 3 of them are 4 and under. And that is a very, very demanding role. Constantly having to multitask, constantly having to have my focus outward, what's going on over here, what's going on over there, so-and-so going to kill themselves, are they going to kill somebody else? It's very stressful. And I've noticed that when I get a second, when the kids are, kind of enjoying some downtime, or where I'm not needing to, for whatever reason, have my attention on them 24/7, the first thing that always pops to mind is I want to eat something sweet. And the reason that is because that behavior, that action is something that utilizes my senses. I'm able to enjoy my body in that moment, or I should say I'm able to enjoy the experience of my body in that moment. And so grounding is kind of like the need to experience the senses of your body in a way that you enjoy. You want to enjoy the experience of being in this body. And so we think about all the different, there's a plethora of ways that we can enjoy the experience of this body and in this body in ways that are very constructive as opposed to destructive. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. So we talked about kind of what grounding is, why we ground. And so let's go over some of the things that we can do to ground that are constructive. And so one of the biggest ones that's actually really important is breathing deep. So when we are in the midst of these demanding roles, whether, you're a stay-at-home mom, whether you work outside of your job for a living, and the role that you have is so super demanding on you, especially if you're a business owner, and it doesn't matter really what it is. It's your own personal experience. And so if that role to you is very demanding, it makes you feel fractured and stuff like that, then, your physical body, usually if you're stressed out, frustrated, all of that stuff, your body itself is actually very stressed out as well. It's, you know, pumping with adrenaline, cortisol. It's, you know, you're probably breathing very shallow, very fast. And so breathing, so even just thinking about it gets me all worked up. And so deep breathing itself is very grounding. It's very centering because your awareness is on your senses, right? Your awareness is on your body. And it's also serving the added benefit of slowing your body's systems down. And if you do something that's called the quick heart coherence technique, that has the additional added benefit of reconnecting that heart and mind connection, which, you know, I have a video on this on my channel here where it goes over what the quick heart coherence technique is and how to do it. It's very simple, only takes about 5 minutes. So deep breathing is one of them. Meditation, quieting the mind is another. Usually people do the deep breathing and meditation together. Sorry. Anything that has to do with water, whether it's taking a bath, having a shower, going swimming, playing in the sprinklers, anything like that, water is very grounding. When you feel that water washing over you, or you just, you know, you're able to feel physical touch, you're able to feel the water, and it's very grounding. Taking baths, especially warm, salt water baths. Salt water baths are very grounding as well, but the salt works as a way to cleanse you as well, both your body and energetically. Eating. So for people who aren't addicted to food, can eat something to ground themselves. Again, you want to make sure that anything that you're picking up is going to be something that is constructive, not destructive. So if you're somebody who's predisposition to have an addiction to sweets and stuff like that, you might be careful with using food as a way to ground yourself. Okay, that's a personal one of mine. I won't be using food to ground. I'm trying to break that habit. Another one is sex, you know, whether with someone else or with yourself. Again, if you're somebody who is predisposed to sexual addiction, you don't want to do that. You want to be able to, you know, unless you figured out a way to do it in a healthy manner. Just like people who have an addiction to food, you know, if you're able to figure out how to have a healthy relationship with it, then you can use that to ground as well. But once you figure that out, I wouldn't use that to ground until you figure that out. We'll put it that way. Anything that utilizes like creativity, so like painting, because when you think about painting, you're using color, so that's utilizing, you know, the sense of sight. And then if you're someone that likes the smell of paint, that's also utilizing the sense of smell. Candle making soaps. I think that's why people like to window shop too, because that uses sight. You know, if you're going in and you can smell things, you know, just stuff like that. Getting a massage, you know, whether it be done professionally or, you know, having a massage chair or a massage wand, you know, a massage is very grounding and centering. Writing, content creating, like I said, so any activity of grounding is going to be something that utilizes, you know, one or several or all of your 5 senses in a way that you actually enjoy, right? So any kind of activity that you can think of, exercise is another one. There are people who love to exercise, and it is very grounding and very good for your body as well. Walking outside barefoot in the grass is very grounding. Very good for, you know, that energetic connection too. Especially if the sun is out. If the sun is out and you can feel the sun's rays on you, the sun itself is very cleansing energetically, and so that's an added benefit of, you know, grounding outside. But make sure if you're going to, ground outside that you walk on the earth, not like cement or, stuff like that. I mean, you want to be on the dirt, in the grass, on the sand, stuff like that. A direct connection with Mother Earth. Dancing, laughing. We already talked about deep breathing and meditation. Um, you know, and that's about as far as I'm drawing right now. So you guys, you kind of get the idea. So if you come up with any kind of an activity that utilizes one or more or all of the senses, then go ahead and drop some, suggestions in the comments below. That way I might find something I didn't even think of, like, oh man, I love doing that, or somebody else could see the same thing. And it's always a great thing to be able to have some more constructive tools in your toolbox, right? Okay. Let me know if you think of anything else. All right. Thanks. Bye.